Welcome to the deep dive. You know that moment you need a new tool or there's some big update, and suddenly you're just staring at this wall of legal text. You scroll, you maybe skim a little, and you click, I accept. Hoodie. Well, today we are stopping that scroll. We're going to take a flashlight to the fine print of one of the world's biggest tech ecosystems. Our source material is, it's really the legal bedrock of this whole thing. We've got the Universal Terms of Service, the huge privacy policy, and then two really, really crucial specialized documents. There's the generative AI additional terms, and then the one that, it frankly made us sit up straight, the Google anti-gravity additional terms of service. Yeah, that name alone kind of suggests we're dealing with systems that defy expectation. So our mission for this deep dive is to give you that shortcut, to being truly informed. And we're focusing on three big areas. First, the new world of liability when you're using these advanced AI agents. Second, the just massive scope of data collection, even when you're signed out. And third, that fundamental question, who actually owns the stuff you create and what kind of license are you giving them?
And setting the context here is so important. It's vital to remember that these documents, however they're phrased, they are binding contracts. You're entering into an agreement. It governs how you use everything and what rights the company has. And for you to be fully informed, you really have to look at all of them together as one big agreement. We're dealing specifically with the privacy policy that's effective July 1, 2025, and the universal terms for May 22, 2024. But for the really advanced tools like this, theoretical but legally detailed anti-gravity service, you have to stitch all four together. The universal terms, privacy policy, the generative AI terms, and that very specific anti-gravity add-on.
Okay, let's jump right in where the tech is really outpacing our legal understanding. Let's dive into those anti-gravity additional terms, because they introduce a concept that just fundamentally shifts the risk for the user, and that concept is the AI agent. They describe these agents as goal-oriented AI systems, or workflows. They're designed to perform actions for you. They can be supervised or, and this is the critical part, they can be completely autonomous. We are way past simple queries now. These are tools that actually do things in the real world, digital or even physical.
That's exactly right. And point 4 of those special anti-gravity terms is where the liability bombshell is. If you use these agents, the terms say you accept sole responsibility for 3 crucial things. First, you are solely responsible for all the actions and tasks performed by that AI agent, period. Second, you are solely responsible for deciding if the AI agent is even fit for what you want to use it for. And third, you have to exercise judgment and supervision, especially if that agent is in a production environment, specifically to avoid potential harm.
Okay, let's unpack that. Sole responsibility. That is a huge leap in liability for a consumer tool. What does that actually mean? Like, if I use an autonomous AI agent to manage my social media and it misunderstands a command and, defames someone, am I really on the hook?
According to these terms, yes.
Yeah.
You are. It is a complete transfer of accountability. The platform gives you the tool, but you are the one who initiates it, supervises it, and ultimately you accept the legal risk for what it does. It basically means that AI agent is acting as an extension of you, not of the company that built it. It's an essential clause, really, if they're going to develop these highly autonomous tools.
Wow. That distinction alone should make anyone pause before setting an AI agent to autonomous. But what about the data that's needed to fuel these things?
They collect specific data they call interactions. And this is broader than just your standard user data. It includes how you interact with it, related metadata, any feedback you give on how it's performing. And this is crucial. The terms say these interactions are all aggregated and used to evaluate, develop, and improve Google and Alphabet research, products, services, and machine learning technologies.
That sounds like the commercial lifeblood of future AI right there. All that real-world performance data. Now, just going back to the foundational rules for a second, the older generative AI terms, they had a specific restriction about users training their own models. Does that still apply?
It does, and it's a non-negotiable term, really. It protects their core IP. Even though a lot of those terms got absorbed into the newer universal terms, that restriction is still there across the whole ecosystem. Users may not use the services to develop competing machine learning models or related tech. They give you the platform, but you can't use it to build a competitor.
That makes total sense. They're protecting their investment. But to really get the power they have, we have to look at the fuel they use, which is the data. So let's pivot to that foundational privacy policy and the scope of collection. Because as you said, it is holistic. A lot of people think, if I browse in incognito or I just don't sign in, I'm invisible. What's still being collected when you're deliberately signed out?
Well, even when you're signed out, the services aren't blind. Information is collected and linked using what they call unique identifiers. They're tied to your specific browser or the app or the device you're using. This is how the system recognizes you and keeps your preferences across sessions like your language or certain search settings. It's like a persistent digital fingerprint, even if you haven't given them your name.
Okay, now when we get to the signed-in user, the data collection just explodes. I think everyone expects their created content emails, photos, docs to be collected. That's the trade-off. But let's talk about the information gathered about the device itself. That feels overlooked.
The depth of device data is pretty granular. It includes the expected stuff, unique identifiers, browser type, OS info, but it goes deeper. They collect mobile network info, which includes your carrier's name and, critically, your phone number. And if the service contacts their servers, which is happening constantly, they also collect your IP address, system activity, and even crash reports.
Wait, crash reports? So technical details about failures on my specific device are just being vacuumed up as part of the service?
Precisely. It's all categorized as necessary for, providing and maintaining the services, but it shows how deeply their collection is integrated with your device's core functions.
And this is where it gets really interesting for me. Activity data. This is your behavior, your interactions. This is where personalization comes from.
Absolutely. The activity tracked includes everything from the terms you search for, the videos you watch,
Yeah.
to your views and interactions with ads,
Yeah.
your purchase history. And two things people often miss are the collection of voice and audio information, if you use those features, and your synced Chrome browsing history. And that's even if that history is on third-party sites that use Google services.
And if you use their services for communication, like messaging or calling, the level of data logged is just, well, it's extraordinary.
It is. It's very detailed communication log. They might collect phone numbers, email addresses of who you're talking to, the time and date of calls, duration, even routing information and the volume of messages you send. It gives them a really powerful metadata picture of your social graph.
So let's talk location, because this is where that multi-layered collection approach really becomes clear. What are all the different ways they figure out where you are?
They use a cocktail of sources. It starts with GPS and sensor data from your device, and your IP address, of course. But it's augmented by location info, inferred from your activity-like places you label home or work. And, this is the key detail, information about things nearby. They specifically list Wi-Fi access points, cell towers, and Bluetooth-enabled devices.
So even if I turn off my GPS, they've built a system using everything around me, the network, Wi-Fi signals, cell towers, to basically place me on a map.
Exactly. It ensures location tracking is robust, it's persistent, it leverages all the available signals to define your behavior. And this exhaustive collection brings us right to the universal terms of service and the huge question that follows. What legal rights are you giving them over the content you create and upload?
So if I upload a review or I write an email, post a video, do I still own the intellectual property?
Yes. The terms are very clear that you retain any intellectual property rights you hold in that content. You are still the owner. But retaining ownership is only half the story. The act of using the service means you grant the company a very comprehensive license to handle that content.
Okay, and what are the key terms of this license? This is the jargon people skip. Worldwide, royalty-free, sublicensable. Why do those words matter?
They matter because they define the scope of control. The license is worldwide, so it applies everywhere. It's royalty-free. They don't have to pay you to use it. It's non-exclusive, so you can still license your work to others. And maybe the most important one is that it's sublicensable.
Sublicensable. Okay, break that down for us. What does that actually mean?
It means the company can grant the same rights you gave them to a third party. They need this for practical reasons. For example, they sublicense rights to contractors who help run the service, or to other users so they can share your content, or even to a tool to translate your review. Without that ability to delegate those permissions, the platform just couldn't function on a global scale.
And what specific rights does that license grant them over the content itself?
It gives them the right to host, reproduce, distribute, communicate, use, publish, and publicly display your content. And on top of that, it explicitly includes the right to modify and create derivative works.
Modify and create derivative works? That's a big one, so they can reformat it or even change the content?
Exactly. This lets them reformat your text for a mobile screen, or optimize a photo so it loads faster, or, yes, translate it. Those modification rights are crucial for the service to work and improve, and the terms are clear about the purpose. Operating and improving services, promoting them and developing new tech, and tying all of this to improvement is the automated analysis of your content. The terms are very specific about when this happens.
So when exactly does that analysis happen?
It happens in 3 phases. as the content is sent, as it is received, and when it is stored. Automated systems and algorithms are scanning everything in real time for spam, malware, patterns, customization. And to feed those machine learning processes we talked about, your content is being processed the moment it touches the system.
Which brings us to the section about control. Given this huge collection and the powerful license you grant them, the user needs to feel empowered. What are the guardrails and tools they provide to manage all this data?
Well, first, let's just quickly reiterate the benefits from all this data use. It lets the company provide and maintain the services, develop new ones, like how they use Picasso's organization data to build a foundation for Google Photos, and of course, to provide personalized services and ads.
And while personalized ads are a big deal, what are the stated limits? How do they draw a line on what's too sensitive?
They explicitly state that personalized advertising is not based on sensitive categories like race, religion, health, or sexual orientation. And, crucially, they also state that ads are not personalized based on content from your private data like Drive, Gmail, or Photos. That is the line they legally state is drawn.
Okay, so if I'm listening to this and I want to go take control of my settings right now, what specific tools should I look for?
There are several direct tools. The easiest place to start is the Privacy Checkup, which guides you through your settings. Then you have the Activity Controls, where you can manually turn on or off things like web and app activity, YouTube history, and that setting for activity on other sites. Beyond that, you can use My Activity to review and delete past activity, the Google dashboard for product-specific info, and if you want to leave entirely, you have the ability to export all your data with Takeout or just delete your entire Google account.
When a user does that, when they hit delete, is it really instant and complete?
That's where the terms introduce a necessary nuance. The goal is safe and complete removal, but they clearly state there may be delays in deleting copies from active and backup systems. They say this is necessary to protect against accidental or malicious deletion, or just the technical reality of updating massive worldwide backup systems. It is not an immediate flip of a switch. And finally, as part of accountability, we have to mention the rules of conduct you agree to. Users must comply with laws, respect IP and privacy rights, and simply not abuse the services. This covers everything from phishing to creating fake accounts to using automated bots to scrape content.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, who just wants to use your email and maybe try that cool new AI tool without becoming a legal expert? Well, the key takeaways from this deep dive are pretty essential. First, using advanced AI agents, like in those anti-gravity terms, shifts sole responsibility for what that agent does directly onto you. That's a huge risk. Second, data collection is truly holistic. It's not just your content, but device details like crash reports, mobile carrier info, and location from Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, even when you're signed out. And third, by clicking I accept, you are granting a worldwide, royalty-free, sublicensible license for your content to be modified and analyzed to improve their services, often in real time.
And that leads to a final, provocative thought. These documents show how a corporation can legally synthesize information from totally different services. They could use your Chrome browsing history to inform AI research, or use your YouTube activity to tailor ads you see on some other website.
Yeah.
But when you consider that specific rule against you using their services to train competing AI models, you should really ponder the strategic, long-term value of that interactions data. That detailed user activity, the metadata, the feedback that they explicitly reserve the right to use to develop their future research and products. What is the aggregated economic power of that worldwide user interaction data in the next decade of AI?
A question definitely worth thinking about the next time you tap I accept. In the meantime, use what we've gathered today, take a few minutes, run that privacy checkup, and review your own settings. That's all the time we have for this deep dive.